Hi, and welcome to the Purpose Podcast, the show that helps you to discover your purpose and release equity within. My name is Andre Spence, the Purpose Coach, and I speak, I coach, and I run events. But life wasn't always so purposeful. Starting out my career on a reality show called Sweet 16, scouring through multiple different types of jobs within the creative and entertainment field, the fact is I always ended up feeling fear, frustration, and failure. But it was my mentors that helped me navigate and discover my purpose. It's my hope through these sit-downs with my influential friends and industry leaders that this podcast will serve as your mentor and help you discover your purpose and release equity within. Guys, who do we have in the building?
Hi guys, my name is Chanté Joseph. Nice to meet you.
Chanté Joseph. Everybody give her a round of applause! We've got two other people in the room.
It's just the two of us like...
Okay, cool. Well, Chanté gave me her bio and I'm just reading it. All right, cool. This is what I say to everybody. Chanté is a soon-to-be author and journalist covering topics from technology to racism, pop culture to fitness for publications including The Guardian, Gal-Dem, Bustle, Vice, and many more. She is also a host to Reform the Funk's online series, Talk and Play, and a pole dance enthusiast. Come, girl, show us to do the pole dance.
There's no pole here. Unfortunately, I can't do any pole dance.
Chanté, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm tired, but I'm good. You have such infectious energy that I'm just feeling so pumped up. It's so lovely to be here with you.
Thank you so much. I honestly really, really appreciate you. Right, what we're going to do, literally this is just a conversation and my aim is literally to gain principles so that people can know how to live their lives, essentially. And get closer to where they really want to be.
All right. Hopefully I can be helpful.
Don't worry. It's going to be all good. But the way that we start, we ask people for their birthday.
My birthday? Yeah. The 17th of April, 1996. I am an Aries. My moon sign is also an Aries.
1996?
Yeah.
This girl's like 10 years old.
Oh my, I'm 23.
23? Chanté, you lying?
I'm a big woman.
And you're doing all this stuff?
Big woman.
She's a young girl. Wow. I'm so proud of you.
Thank you.
Are you lying?
No, I'm not lying. You don't believe I'm 23?
No, because you're so articulate and so...
Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate
Did you know
that.
Do you think she was 23? Not that she looks. We know that she looks good, etc. But I'm talking about in character and in how she's done so much. No. People just like finishing uni.
Oh,
why are you even in this chair? Go home. 1996. I'm just joking around. So 17th of April 1996.
Yeah.
And so tell us your story. So all it is essentially, we just want to know how who was in your household to like primary school, how was it there, how was it in secondary school, college, university, and to where we are today. So you can just take your time, talk, and I'll just write some notes. Okay,
cool. So do I start like early life and stuff?
Yeah.
So born and raised in Northwest London. Grew up with my mum in Cricklewood. Went to school also in Northwest London. I actually went to 3 different primary schools.
Oh, that's like me, I went to 4.
Oh yeah, I went to quite a few, moved around a lot. I think one of my primary schools was a bit far, but also there were like just lots of like tensions and stuff. My second primary school was at for a good while, and then I ended up leaving because like I just had quite like racist teachers, and it's really weird because when I remember my first ever experiences with racism or experience with like understanding my own race, I remember being in my primary school. No. I'm black mixed with black.
Right. Black mixed with black.
That's what I am. My parents are my parents are from the Caribbean. Yeah. So my grandparents were born in the Caribbean and then came here. But my parents were born and raised here, and I was born and raised here. But yeah, my first understanding of race or first understanding of my own blackness was when I was in primary school, and I remember being on a table with like a bunch of girls, and like everybody was laughing about something, and my teacher was like, "Chanté, stop laughing, like get out." And I was like to her, "You're only telling me this because I'm black." And I was so young, and the fact that I had an understanding of this, but I didn't understand the societal pressures. I must have been maybe like 8 or 9. I was really young, but it was my first ever experience of understanding that. And then my teacher got really angry, red in the face. Like, when you call white people out about their races, they're like, "I'm not a racist."
No, my best friend's black.
Literally. That's literally what it was like. Shortly after I left that school, I then went to primary school in Neasden / Dollis Hill. A primary school called Moore Primary. Was there for quite a while. And it's where I think I guess I started to find passions. I think I struggled a lot in secondary school, struggled with like maintaining like friendships, or struggled with belonging to groups. And so I threw myself into a lot of extracurriculars, which was like both a good and bad habit, in the sense that I did drama after school. I did shows at like Hampstead Theatre and all of these places. Then I did cheerleading, and I did dance, and I did extra Spanish lessons, and I did UK Youth Parliament, and then I did a bunch of other kind of youth empowerment organizations. I was part of loads of those kind of things, which was great. But from a young age, I have been stretching myself out to my actual limits, which is why I think you're like, oh, you're only 23, but like I've been doing this since school.
Wow.
And it's weird because
you're actually 50.
Yeah, I'm basically, I literally always say like I'm 23 going on like 66. Do you know what I mean? And I think a lot of that, as much as it comes from like me being really interested in this stuff, I think sometimes it was a bit about like avoidance or like loneliness, or even in a weird way trying to prove myself to my parents or make them proud of me. They were not pushy at all. They were like, as long as
your
you
mum and
don't...
dad together?
No.
Okay.
They were kind of like, as long as you don't have kids, when you're a teenager like us, then, we'll be happy as long as you, do you know what I mean? Like there was quite, I guess, low expectations of me, but I think when you grow up in a household where your parents argue a lot, the only time they would come together was to kind of to support me, or they were proud of me. So then I did so much stuff in order to have a household that was peaceful. And that's something I've only realized recently, going to therapy. Therapy has changed my life. And so, I did all of that stuff in primary school and in secondary school.
It's amazing that you're so self-aware.
It takes a long time though. I think it was a lot of like, I guess, me having like visceral reactions to things, or not knowing why I was upset about something, or something impacted me and not having the language to explain what was wrong with me. And in going to therapy, I was actually able to articulate a lot of those feelings, which meant I knew how to deal with them. So I wasn't holding so much resentment in me because I knew how to confront issues. So that was quite helpful. And did all of that stuff in secondary school, went to sixth form, and instead of doing A-levels like everyone else, like I should have, I went and I did the IB, which was really, really hard, the International Baccalaureate. It's a bit like, it's like A-levels, but you do 6 subjects, and you do an extended essay, and you do a topic called Theory of Knowledge, which is like, it's
like critical thinking? Kind
of like...
I took 5 and 6 was critical thinking. I don't know.
Something like that, yeah. It was very rigorous, but it was like unnecessarily difficult. But I got the grades I needed to get into uni. But before I even went to uni, I took a gap year, and I worked for a year at the Bank of England. And that was incredibly boring. And I realized from early that that's not the sort of thing I wanted to do. And I think for a long time, our success, or the way we talk about success, we talk about it through the lens of financial freedom. And we see financial freedom, or we see achieving financial freedom through working in quite money heavy industries like banking, or being a lawyer, or being a doctor, or whatever. So I had my heart set on that. I was like, I'm gonna work in banking. And I was like, this is the dullest, most boring. I hated it. One time I came to work with a green wig, and my manager started yelling at me in front of it. Like, it was awful.
Went, it's because I'm black.
I wish I was just like, wow, okay. Like, she was like, well, how quickly can you change it? And I lied, like it was a sew-in. And I was like, oh, I can't really do anything about it. Like, but I knew from quite early on that I didn't really enjoy being in those spaces, and I didn't want to be in those spaces. So that was a nice eye-opener for me. But obviously, if people who want to be there, like, good for you, like, you're bossing it in those industries. But it wasn't really for me. Finished up at that internship. And then the following summer, or the summer that finished, I headed to Bristol for university, which was probably, the most formative 3 years of my entire life. And it started off in the first maybe 2 weeks of term. There was a huge fire in my accommodation, and I basically lost like most of my things and had to restart again in a new accommodation.
Wow.
That I absolutely didn't want to live in.
Money?
Yeah, I did. But the thing is, by the time I got my insurance money, it was months later, and I'd already got myself into debt by rebuying all the things I needed to continue my day-to-day life. So it wasn't even like I was like, oh, I've got all this money now. It's like I'm just basically paying myself back from all the things that I had to sort out. And it was like stressful moving to a completely new city around people I don't know. I've literally just left my family. It's my first time, I guess, being out by myself. It's my first time having my own room. So this was a very like different experience for me. And then to basically lose all my stuff in a fire and have to move and basically restart again was like a very bumpy start for me. So yeah, I moved into a different accommodation, which was a bit further up. It was so basically there's a set of accommodations in Bristol called, like, in a place called Stoke Bishop, and it's a bit more separated from the main area of the city. And I think a lot of the kids that live in that place tend to be from like private schools or boarding schools. And so you go there, and the first question people ask you is what school did you go to? Which in my head was a weird thing. Nobody really asked me what school I go to, because I just assume everyone's schooling experience is completely different, and you're not going to know the small little failing academy that I went to in like northwest London. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to know about that. But it's like a private school thing when you ask people what school they go to.
I think this is the best interview we've had, isn't it? So
is
good. It's not even an interview yet. It's just you're just good.
Do you want me to just let you ask questions?
No, you keep going.
Well, let me know if you want me to. If you want to shut up, then let me know.
No,
if you want
I like
me to
it. I'm
go
feeling
into things.
full. Come on.
So yeah, and so that was a different space for me. Like, I was like one of the only black girls in my whole accommodation, and I felt very seen, but I felt very invisible. And navigating.
Sorry, stop. Very seen, but very invisible. That is a word. Did you know you were gonna say that?
No.
Wow. That might even be that strapline thing. Come on. Ooh, that is the deep word. Come on, keep going, girl.
So yeah, it was when I was at this accommodation. I also ran to be like the president of my halls after living there for like 3 weeks, because I needed to throw myself into something. So I did that, and I won, and it was, people were really weird about it, but it was like none of you showed up to vote, none of you even cared about this stuff, and I wanted to like really get into the swing of university life. And so yeah, I had quite a tough time living there, and it was when I was there I kind of noticed how, I guess, white university was, and it was kind of the first time in my life that I proper felt like a minority in that sense, because I think growing up in northwest London, it was so diverse there. The schools I went to were so diverse. I never really had that issue until I got to university, and I really had to reckon with like my own blackness and what it meant to be me in a space that was really white. So I applied for some funding from O2 to set up a platform for black students, to basically just talk about their experiences at university and any other sort of thing they want.
I'm like, what funding did I ever apply for? Like, I wouldn't even have that knowledge. You did it the other day. But yeah, you're blowing me with the kind of insight that you had at such a young age. We will ask that question in a second. Go ahead.
I think it's one of those ones where, like, I'd done youth parliament and spoken at House of Commons, blah, blah, and been involved in all these youth organisations, that I kind of knew how to get stuff done if I wanted to get it done. Do you know what I mean? So I was just researching into it. And also I wanted autonomy. I wanted to do my own thing by my own rules, and I didn't want to have to wait on an institution.
I only learned that word this year.
You're so
I'm
annoyed.
30 years old man. This year, self-autonomy, I had to go in the dictionary and research. This girl's telling me autonomy now. Hey, keep going.
And yeah, so I set up this platform with some of my friends, and we kind of published a lot of like articles. We did like video content, we did events. Like, it was a whole thing, and for me it was really important to throw myself into. But I think it became quite complicated when I wanted to take up more roles within the actual university structure, because I think as much as I enjoyed doing my own thing, it was nice having an institution to rely on. So I was also chair of my student council for a bit, which wasn't really an intense role, but something I could do to keep on top of what was happening in the union. And then I ran to be the BME officer in my second year, and was also chair of the Labour Society as well, and chair of my ACS. And as much as I think
Chair. There was was no position for nobody else.
But you know what? I think as much as I enjoyed all of those roles, I really it was bad habits, like I mentioned, being in secondary school and primary school and overloading myself and neglecting myself of having an actual childhood where I did things and I learned about myself. And it wasn't until I got to uni where I was like, I'm doing all this stuff that I'm so stretched at, so I'm not even performing as well as I know I can perform. I don't know what my direct interest is. I feel like I'm like a jack of all trades and master of none. And it's great that I'm able to hold all these positions and people trust me to hold all these positions, but am I actually delivering on what they deserve?
Just do that. You know when people do the click? This girl's coming with fire. Girl, you're not going to click.
I'm just taking it.
You're just taking it, it's fine.
You are special. Go on, keep going.
And so that was a lot for me to reckon with, and it was the first time I actually had to look at myself and really ask whether or not I'm doing this stuff because I want to serve people and I believe that I can make change, or if it's because I want to make myself feel good and value myself.
Oh, wow.
And I think even going to therapy, I've learned that I don't really like myself that much. And I have all these positions.
Stop. She's doing too much. Wait. So people are doing it so you was doing it or doing it because you wanted that kind of validation.
Yeah.
And then, like myself, wow, this is too deep, girl. You want people to cry myself.
You asked me to give my honest truth. That is what I'm delivering.
Are you not hearing this?
I'm giving my brutal honesty.
This is beautiful. Keep going. Right, go on. You realise you didn't like yourself that much.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I had all of these great positions and I had all these accolades and I had all these people who looked up to me and really liked me. But I had to do so much work on me, and I'm still doing work on me. And I feel like, yeah, and I feel like I'm coming here as a person. Like, I know this is about journey and stuff like that, but like, my God, I'm still on a journey. And I feel like I started therapy when I was at university, and the story of how I kind of got there was like, I was doing all this stuff, was becoming really overwhelmed. And then on top of it, a lot of the stuff I was talking about and writing, particularly about the racism that Black students face at university and on campus, was being picked up by like student papers like the Tab or whatnot. And the Tab are connected to a lot of like big tabloids like The Sun, The Mail, blah, blah, blah. So basically a lot of the stuff that I was saying would then become articles in those magazines. Obviously the people who read those papers are like racist, white supremacists, nationalists, and they were coming for my neck. Like,
for my neck.
They were sending me DMs, emails, messages.
Hey.
I was like, there were points at which I was like almost scared to like leave my house because I was just like, I felt overwhelmed by the publicity. Do you know what I mean? It was a lot. People telling me, go and kill yourself, go back to your country, go and live in your mud hut. How dare you call out racism? You're getting an education at a British university. You should be happy, blah, 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 blah. And at this point, I was still learning and understanding conversations about race myself. So I still felt like a newbie. And it was just like, it was quite a horrible situation to be in. And I think at university as well, for me, it was a huge challenge, even on the like making friends front, because I had invested so much time in all those extracurriculars, sports and all that stuff that I didn't really nurture my friendships. So a lot of people left uni with like huge groups of friends or just like a real like support network. Not to say I don't have a support network. People watching this like who have supported me, I love you guys so much and whatnot. But I'm saying it's more my fault for not really seeing the value and the importance of friendship and prioritizing being successful, having achievements, accolades, LinkedIn, all of that stuff so much more.
She needs to teach me how to use my LinkedIn. Everybody's been telling me.
Do you know what? I'm so rubbish at LinkedIn. I used to be proper on it, and then I just fell off because as soon as I left uni and I left the comfort of an institution with all the roles and the titles and access it gave me, I had to figure out who the hell I was.
Hey.
That was an important question I had to ask myself.
That's the name of my book. What the hell am I here? Who the hell I was? Come on.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I had to be like to myself, Chanté, you're doing all this stuff, but when someone would ask me like, what's your hobbies? And I'd be like, oh, well, I'm chair of the school. Is that a hobby though? But I'm chair of is that a hobby? Do you know what I mean? Like, as much as those things are fun and you enjoy them and their roles, what do you do that really nourishes you and makes you feel good? And so I think I picked up cheerleading at uni and I loved it so much. And it was something that I was very, very dedicated to, like did not miss a session. Since I've graduated, I've picked up pole dancing. I've been doing it consistently. And it's like, these small things that like keep me like grounded, or just like remind me that there's something else that I love that I can improve in, that doesn't necessarily have to be for consumption, that I don't necessarily have to monetize, that I can just do because I enjoy it. And I think that has helped me so much, and I wish I did more of that at uni. Like I know I did so much at uni and people are so proud of me, but if I could go back and do one thing really well, I would be happy about that, as opposed to doing a billion things and being really, really stressed out when everyone else is like, you know, just going to sports socials on a Wednesday and living their best life, and that being the end of it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just think I guess it's all part of the journey, and I'm so grateful I did those things and happy I did it. But at what cost? Do you know what I mean? What did I really gain from it? Because I definitely feel like I could be as far as I am right now had I focused more on one thing. And obviously now my thing is, even though I don't work in it full time, but I do so much freelance journalism that has taken me abroad, that has given me so many opportunities that I'm so grateful for. And I just think, like, what if I focused on writing more at uni instead of like occupying all these spaces? Or what if I did this or that, or I invested in this, or I started this when I said I would? I think I would be in a completely different position.
But babe, you're just still 23. Let's just sit there. So where are you at now? What am I doing now? Right now?
So right now, I have a 9 to 5. I work at an agency and I do social media stuff. And I've pretty much worked in social media since I graduated, because it's just something that
Which agency
I could do.
You'd like to say?
It's called Dirt and Glory. It's like in Farringdon. It's a really small agency. And I've been there doing like social media stuff, but also doing outside of that a lot of freelance journalism. Like I've been writing so much more, and I'm writing a book, which is like really exciting.
Yeah, you'd like to reveal the title?
Yeah, it's part of a wider I guess collection of books. Is it 7? I think it's 7. 7 like young Black British writers are all writing their first books.
Yes, right, yeah.
And the title of it all is called A Quick Ting On, and my book is A Quick Ting On the Black British Power Movement. So like that's what I'm kind of working on / researching at the moment, which is a lot of fun. And like I've been writing for so long. I've been writing since before I was even at uni.
I was just gonna say before she was in the womb.
Probably.
Sounds like
probably.
It. Yeah.
So yeah, it's exciting to be working on that, doing a lot of writing, doing more like hosting and presenting, and I really want to get into like documentary making, and I've had a few like opportunities come up that I don't think I can talk about right now,
that's right.
but when it comes out, or when like God willing, everything goes to plan and that stuff reaches, then it'll be great. And I did that short web series with Reform the Funk called Talk and Play, and we're working on a second thing at the moment, which is quite fun. So yeah, that is kind of what I'm doing at the moment. A lot of writing, a lot of hosting, but also like working my 9 to 5 and all that jazz.
So, let's just take a break. 1 second, I need to take a drink of water.
Same.
Yeah, cheers. Well done to Chanté. Yeah. Right, I've got some cool things. I've written down some notes.
Yeah.
Of exactly what you're saying, your whole story. Which is, no, it's not your whole story.
Yeah, it's parts of it.
But parts of it. Okay, cool. So, taking it back to mum and dad.
Yeah.
So I often talk about, we think we're driving ourselves, but it's often our experiences that are driving us. Mm-hmm. So you mentioned that mum and dad inside the house were having some arguments. And then essentially what the word that I think I wrote down for you was that you said, you were saying, I was kind of hearing, is that ultimately you just wanted to be the glue for everyone, which meant that you constantly tried to be the glue, but the way you knew that would be, especially when they would affirm you in doing good, is that, okay, I need to do good, I need to do the maximum that I can do to achieve that. So therefore, it seemed that will be a ripple effect along your life. With everything you're doing, it's like to have peace with everybody. I'm going to do all of this stuff. And so therefore, something happened with my old mentor, is that because I didn't really know myself and I wanted to please them, it would be like their vision would become my vision. I would just start doing everything it's such a weird, I don't even necessarily know how to describe it, but super weird. But how was it so at that point you wasn't able to have such a clear picture of why you were doing the things you were doing? So how was you coping mentally?
I don't think I was. I had really bad mental health in school. Like when I think back, something that happens to you, I think when you go through maybe like, I guess, traumatic life events or you like go through a really bad period of your life is that sometimes you have memory loss. And it wasn't until I got to therapy when my therapist would ask me about like certain aspects in my life that I at the time I had no real recollection of. Or sometimes you can't compartmentalize really painful or harmful memories and you don't ever bring them up. And I think in school I did go through a lot of bullying, which had a huge impact on me. And a lot of it was and like not even in that I'm so vain, but a lot of it like was jealousy. Like I was overachieving and I was still sustaining my grades. Like I wasn't A star across the board, but I was intelligent and I had good grades, and I also had all of this extra stuff to bolster me as somebody who was an interesting individual. And I think I just really struggled in school because I didn't take a lot of time to build and maintain relationships because I was filling every free second of my life with stuff. And B, I just like, it was just really difficult for me. And I went through like, I had terrible mental health in school, and I had counselling more or less all through school. I didn't get therapy until I started sixth form, but I had a really weird therapist that I got free from the NHS. But she was like really difficult to talk to, so I never ended up going back. And then I started therapy again at university, but I had a therapist who was a lovely woman, but she was like a white woman, and I feel like I spent a lot of our therapy sessions trying to explain to her
yourself
how racism worked. And then so I had that therapy at university, and then I didn't start therapy again until last year properly. But I've always had like I think I coped a lot, but I carried so much growing up.
But you said, because you had a lot of resentment.
Yeah.
How did you release that resentment in order to... Because I'm sure releasing the resentment also helped you to propel you at the same time, isn't it?
Yeah, I think it was one of those weird ones where like...
And resentment against who?
I think I had a lot of resentment, like maybe like for my parents and stuff. Like, why didn't you spot a lot of these like key mental health issues earlier on? Like, why did you not like kind of, I guess, provide me with more? I mean, obviously my parents are watching this. I love you guys. You're the best. We've already had this conversation before, so it's not news. But like, you know, I just feel like had I had adequate mental health support from when I was quite young, I could be so much further ahead. It delayed me in it inhibited a lot of like the great work that I could have been doing.
Isn't that crazy with like black families? I don't know about white
families.
Like they're just like, you know, just get on with it. You know,
yeah,
you have
exactly.
to work double harder than the white man.
Exactly. Or it was one of those things where it's like you don't have it as bad as like these other kids.
Blah,
blah, blah. But it's like sometimes it's not even about your experiences. It's about your brain. It's about the way your brain is made up. It doesn't matter if
even hormones.
It doesn't matter if you've had the most cushy life ever. You can still suffer from mental health issues, and I think I struggled with little to no support at all for my most formative years. Like,
and because of that probably is the reason why you don't even seek other people's help.
Exactly.
Or the friendships.
Yeah.
Because the friendships actually help us.
Yeah.
But because we did it so much by ourselves. It's crazy that you said that, because I remember in school I probably got bullied a lot, but you just kind of, you know, I'll just be the loud one, the clown, etc.
Exactly, yeah.
And I'll be doing all the different, I'm running for school council, I'm running for all these different things. But I never liked myself. I remember one of my mentors, he said to me in 2017, he looked at me and said, Andre, you don't even value yourself. And he said, how much do you value yourself? And I said, £260. He went, you don't even value yourself that. And it was mad that he said that, because I was like, wow, I don't. It's pretty crazy. Do you think that if your parents stayed together and in harmony, would that made a difference in your life? If it was harmonious?
Probably, yeah. I mean, like when you're growing up in your young formative years, to see like your parents arguing, or to see it like to be privy to things that you should not have been privy to, very adult things, it has a lasting effect on you. And I just feel like it wasn't until I went to therapy and I spoke in detail about my childhood and the things that I experienced that I began to understand, wow, these are the reasons why I'm so messed up like this, or these are the reasons why I don't know how to process anger or deal with confrontation and blah, blah, blah. But at least now I know these things, because now I'm actually making the effort and putting in the work to become a better person by acknowledging my feelings and emotions and acknowledging what triggers me and acknowledging my reactions and being able to stop that, or apologizing when I'm wrong, or taking a hot minute before I react to something. But it took a really long time, because first of all, I had to be in a financial position to pay for my therapy. My therapy is on the cheap end, and that's £45 a week. Do you know what I mean? Not everyone has £45 a week to spend on a therapist. And I think it wasn't until I got into this position that I was able to be like, okay, now I need to work through some things. But I think obviously having a harmonious 2-parent household, or even a harmonious 1-parent household, or even a household where my feelings were acknowledged, that I think would have been very different. I think we don't realize how much of an impact our childhood has on us today.
And it's mad that what you said just about the memory loss. I had something called psychologists call it inner child. So you break away, so that you can cope. Yeah. If you were to actually keep remembering that type of experience, you can't cope, fam.
Exactly. You suppress some of the most painful memories because you don't want to deal with it all the time, or you don't want to have those intrusive thoughts. And it wasn't until my therapist was like, well, it sounds like you have complex PTSD, that I was like, okay, this is making sense, because everybody associates PTSD with like people who've been to war, or people who were like severely beaten as kids, or blah blah blah, all this stuff. But sometimes it can be from emotional, psychological abuse, or being privy to things, or seeing things that you shouldn't have seen, and then it has an impact on you on the long term, and inability to form effective relationships, and inability to deal with confrontation, being triggered. Like, do you know, there's so much stuff that comes with a lot of the things that happened to you in childhood that you don't realize. And it wasn't until I went to therapy that I was like, all this stuff makes sense. Yeah, basically.
Simple. You said that because I think I went to a school called Barclays, then we went to Dawlish, then we went to St Thomas's, then we went to Craven Park, then I went to William Tyndale for primary schools. And literally my mum, as soon as it was like rubbish, there was the whatever, they'll just pick me up and take me out of school. So one school said I was dumb, because I spelt dumb and bum back to front. So I don't think they said I was dumb. I think they said they were laughing at me because I was spelling it wrong, whatever, kind of dyslexia, etc. So my mum just picked me up, take me out there. Then the next school was like all black people, but then the headmaster, I think, was racist. And then went to the next school. Then they didn't like my handwriting because I was doing joined up. So then they took me out of there. Then they put me into the next one. But do you think that also added to the fact that you kind of, it's difficult to form a relationship because you're always getting picked up and dropped somewhere else? Because that was my problem, is that I've gone so many different people, and it's good because it enables you to be able to communicate with so many different types of people. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like you're never stable. Yeah. Or grounded.
Yeah. And I think in school as well, because bullying was always an issue, like I never had to confront it or deal with it. I was always just moving to the next school. And I think as well, like there's that whole inability to make friends and form long-term stable friendships. And then I often, it doesn't matter where I moved to, or the stuff I did outside of school was always a constant. So then I think that's why I have that attitude where it's like friends will go, but like this role that I have here is going to be mine for the next year without a doubt. Do you know what I mean? And then you get into those habits of investing so much in that and investing so much in achievements that you let your friendships fall by the wayside. And I think in a lot of my friendships, sometimes it is me. Like I'm not putting
friends. We are so sorry. We just want to. We just want to say, we are so sorry. What did I say to you today? When people come to me, I'm like, hi. Then I got this.
Yeah.
I'm like, stay there. Isn't it? I'm like, yeah, stay there. Yeah. You just say hello. That's enough. But it is true. Like the things that happen to us is triggering us now.
Yeah.
So even that maybe that are good now, but then you also develop this ability, I'm sure, to be able to discern when somebody's just chatting crap.
Yeah.
And that's annoying too. Yeah. How do you do with that?
The thing is, like, I just stop replying. I think I'm really bad with, like, I guess maybe giving people the benefit of the doubt or whatever. But a lot of the time, I just, like, I don't really have the mental capacity to deal with something. Wow. So I just have to be like, whoosh. And I just kind of feel like a lot of people do just, like, want to waste your time. Thank you so much. Thank you. So I kind of just felt like, meh, like, there's only so much you can invest in people, and you also have to get the energy back from people. And I think that's especially hurtful when I know I don't have a lot of time and energy. So when I do then invest energy in you, like come back with that same energy. Do you know what I mean? Like come back with that same energy. But yeah, people are just the way they are. And I'm committed to not trying to change people. because you can spend a lot of time trying to fix people, or you spend a lot of time trying to, for me anyway, spend a lot of time trying to force friendships out of the fear of not having any friends, or out of the fear of being disliked, that I was just like welcoming people in my life who really didn't deserve to be there. And then I'd be upset when they weren't giving me that same energy, but they weren't giving me that energy from the beginning. And I didn't want to see it because I just wanted friends for the sake of friends, not because I wanted genuine relationships with people. So yeah.
It's gonna even make me cry today. So you spoke about the green wig. The green wig.
The green wig.
So I wrote down rebelling.
Yeah.
So did you feel a need, because of all that you've gone through and because of the systems that you've seen that have been forged, that you just had to rebel? You just always had to rebel?
I think I've always had an issue with always wanting to be different. It's part of the reason why I did IB instead of doing A-levels. But at what cost? Because I could have just done my A-levels and I could have
had
been
less pressure.
Less pressure. I could have been at a better, like, do you know what I mean? And I think part of me was just like, I get so scared of conforming. I get so scared of being like everyone else and living an average life. And I think that fear of mediocrity and the fear of being normal petrifies me. And it's not that I want people to like worship me or I want to be better than everyone. I just want to be different. And I don't want to feel like I'm wasting my life trying to be like everyone else, because that's the more comfortable
Can I say something though?
Yeah.
Well, sometimes your biggest fear is the thing that happens. But with you need to understand that you are incredibly unique.
Thank you.
And there isn't. It's the truth. This is why he keeps talking about you all the time. But there is nobody like you. And I do understand that, you know, probably people, when they meet you, they get intimidated because you are different, essentially.
I should hope not, though. I really do try to make everyone around me always feel like
But
ease.
guess what? I get what you're saying, but let me just be real. People are intimidated of me because I'm just being myself.
Yeah.
And my mentor painted a picture like this. He said, Andre, so I was like, why are they so jealous? Why are they like, I'm just doing my thing. Like, why the hell are you jealous of me?
Yeah.
He said, it's because you're looking through a one-way mirror.
Yeah.
He said, you're looking at their reactions and you're getting annoyed, but the fact is they're just looking at themselves. They're just not happy with themselves. So it's like, we're just, I suppose, a soundboard for them realizing that their life is not all that great. So I then realized now that I can't please everyone. And you can't. Yeah.
But it's annoying because sometimes I feel like I get those bad vibes, but from people that I really respect and look up to. And I think that has, for me, that has been like one of the most painful and upsetting things, to realize that the people that you aspire to be like, the people that you talked about for ages so much because you love them and you wanted to be like them and they inspired you, can turn around and basically treat you bad mind too.
But the reason why they would do that is because they've seen that you're going to take their position because you're younger, you're eloquent.
But that's the thing, like, why?
But isn't it what we're talking about?
Yeah.
The fact that our childhood has messed us up, it's just messed them up too.
Yeah. Everybody's got their things. But I just feel like, for me anyway, like when you're hyper visible or when you're in spaces where like everyone's doing really well, you just can't take that on. Of course, there are people that I'm so intimidated by, but I always show them love and I always show them respect because that's not them, it's me. I need to work through those things. And I think acknowledging, like, this is the thing.
So watch this. So therefore, their reaction is not you, it's them. It's just that they don't have the capacity for you.
Yeah. So, but it's still
That's
hurtful.
What I'm telling you.
But and my thing is, if I can work through my things, so can you. Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't use it as an excuse to be bad mind. I don't have an excuse to be bad mind. Do you know what I mean? And I think it's one of those things where it's like everyone can be a bit bad vibes. Anyone who's like positive people only, good energy only, blah 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 blah. Sorry, but we're all a little bit bad vibes. We're all a little bit jealous. We're all a little bit intimidated. But do you know what you do? You acknowledge those feelings. You let them pass. You work through them. You do what you have to do.
How do you do with it? If you see somebody,
if I see someone and I'm mad jealous of them and I'm like, I hasn't got like we all get. Do you know what? First of all, I acknowledge it and I'm like, okay. And then I think about our situations. This person, maybe they've had access to these sort of people, or they went to this place which put them in proximity to this person, and it may not necessarily be that they're more talented or they're better than me, but maybe they've had different opportunities than me. Maybe it's an age thing. Do you know what I mean? Like, I always think about your exact scenarios, look at the places where you differ, look at the things that you couldn't help. Do you know what I mean? Instead of like picking at this person is dealing with the cards that life dealt them, and I'm doing exactly the same, and they've got different cards, and it's okay. But you have to check yourself. You have to check that bad mind energy in you. And it's not nice because everyone wants to think that they're perfect. No one wants to think that they're bad mind. But let me tell you.
I'm not lying.
Let me tell you.
Yeah? Because when I get I'm not going to lie. Maybe, has it been this year? I'm not even 100% sure. But let me tell you something. As soon as I see the person, my brother knows, I'll call him and say, Kirk, I'm feeling jealous of this person with my friend. I said, I'm feeling jealous, but you know what, Kirk? You know what I'm going to do? You know what I do? Straight up, I'll call that person and say, listen, I'm just proud of you.
Yeah.
I want to say, like, what you're doing is amazing. I even screen print them. So all you lot people know that I screen print, I put on my stories.
Yeah.
It's because I was jealous. 50% of the time. And I put them and say, listen, this person did it. And instantly, it goes.
Yeah.
It goes. Calm down.
You have to
I'm
deal with it.
myself, you know.
Also, sometimes other people's successes doesn't mean a lack of your own, or other people succeeding doesn't mean that there isn't space for anyone else. And I think when you sit and you rationalize that, then it's okay and it gets better and it feels better. But if you sit with that hurt, upset, that jealousy, and you let it foster, it just and you treat people ugly and blah blah blah. It's not cute, but. Also, dealing with your own bad-mindedness isn't cute, but honestly, in the long run, it's so much better. And I have to do it all the time, every day, you know?
What I do every single day.
I just have to work through it.
And it's like what those girls, Elizabeth and I can't remember the other lady that were slay in your lane. It's actually about understanding that you have your own lane. Yeah. You are unique, like you're saying. You have your own identity, you have your own destiny, and you're going to go and kill and slay that. You said something you spoke about those people in those positions, but you said to me, earlier, you had to really ask yourself, are you here to serve? Are you serving people, or are you just doing this for validation? Yeah. Is it that some of those people there that are in those positions, it's not necessarily about the service, but it's actually about they're doing this kind of stuff because they want to be up there, like we've wanted to be in doing the extracurricular activities and stuff. Do you think that it could be like that for those people in the top? Why do you think?
I think it really does depend. I think in some way, a little bit of everything we do is a little bit self-serving. I think to say things are completely selfless and you're doing something because it's completely selfless, I don't know. I think maybe there's something in you that is happy. And I know this is something that people argue about a lot. This is something people debate, like, can actions truly be selfless? Which I think is like obviously a popular debate, and I don't know if it can be. And I think it's okay because I guess that's like self-love and validation, and you're doing stuff that you want to do and you feel validated by it, blah, blah, blah. So you have to be a little bit like selfish. But if being selfish is the whole reason you're doing something, then the steam's going to run out real quick, you know? Things get boring real quick. And that's what I noticed for myself. I was like, I'm not doing this stuff because I enjoy it, because it fulfills me. I'm doing it because like I want the validation, and that's why shit gets boring real quick. And I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore. Like, do you know what I mean? And I think that obviously that's something that I used to do a lot, that I do a lot less of now. I don't enter like vacuous projects. I don't join up to things for the sake of joining up to things. I don't sit on podcasts or talk shows or whatever for the sake of doing it now, because what's the point? Do you know what I mean? Like, who's this really serving? Do I have anything poignant to add? Even when people commission me to write stuff that I'm clearly not qualified to write about, or talk at events that I'm clearly not qualified to talk about, I'm just so happy and okay with saying no and recommending someone else to do it in place of me. Whereas before, I would be clamoring for every opportunity thrown at me, and now I'm like, it's actually okay. Like, passing something up doesn't mean the end of something, and something better will come my way that's meant for me, and then somebody else who gets an opportunity that isn't right for them will pass it on to me. And do you know what I mean?
I love the fact that you just even said learning to say no. That's a big deal. Yeah. Number 2, you said passing on the opportunity. Yeah. That's really beautiful, because most people are just like, oh yeah, sorry, no, I can't do it. Yeah. And if I'm being honest, when people have asked me stuff, I said, oh sorry, I can't do it. But now you've actually given me tools to actually say, you know what, but this person
suggest people.
That's really good.
Suggest people, especially when it's paid stuff as well. Like, I'm not gonna pass on. I'm gonna give it to someone else, like who I think would be sick for this opportunity, who deserves to get coin for what they do. And I think that because I have I don't have millions of followers, but I have a lot of followers.
No, but I like what somebody said to me the other day. And I look at it when I do the events and stuff that I do. We're able to pull in 300-400 people into a building, maybe 700 people, depending on what event it is. Now, I've only got 5,000 people at this moment in time on Instagram. And there's people that I know that got 150,000 followers, and they can't put 20 people inside the room. So it's not actually about, I think it was Cassie Loco said to me, see, Andre, it's not about just followers. It's about, what did she say? It's not about followers, it's about, either way, she said, it's about impact. And so you may not have the most in the world, but you have impact. Yeah, 100%. Thank you. That's why Mike is just always talking about you.
I think my thing was like, the visibility means that a lot of people approach me for stuff, but I'm not right for every opportunity, and like that's okay. And I think
I am not right for every opportunity. That is a word. Is that not a word? Jeez. That's hard to say that, you know. I'm not right for every opportunity.
But it's okay. Like, it's okay.
But it's okay. That's our whole book.
But the thing is, I think for me, it took me a long time to get to this place, man. I used to clamour for every piece of visibility that I can get my hands on. And now I'm just so chilled with doing stuff that's right.
What you said. You said, because that's how I used to be. And I always say I used to chase possessions, positions, power, prestige. And it was all because I was seeking affirmation, attention, and approval. I was just seeking love, essentially. I wanted people to love me. It wasn't even like I was a bad person. It was just like, just be nice to me, kind of thing. So that's what must have been deep when you said that the people were coming for your neck. Because you were just trying to do your thing.
Yeah.
And then now they're coming for your neck. So how did you deal with that?
I think it's because I knew they were like white racists and stuff. I didn't take it too personally. But when you do have a platform and people do see you and like with social media, we're so much more accessible than we were before. It wasn't like the shots people were taking at me were being like softened by anything. It was coming straight to me, straight to my inbox, straight to my notifications. So that was a lot to deal with. Even though I knew I didn't want to please these people in the first place, but like, and I think a lot of it is gaslighting as well, because I was talking a lot about racism and stuff, and people would be like, racism like doesn't exist and blah 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 blah. And I remember like writing an article for like my uni paper that literally went like viral, which was basically just about the ways in which like white students, like, they love black culture, dressing like black people, talking like black people, listening to our music, blah, all this stuff. But when it comes to our lives, when it comes to the way we navigate academia, the academy, all of that stuff, it is like they don't give a shit about us, like, and they can be quite awful, and they can be quite like, they can take all this stuff from us and not show us the respect that we deserve. And I think it was like being in a white space and then people being like, this isn't true and blah 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 and whatever, like, it was just a lot to manage because it was so direct and so personal. But you kind of also do get over that, and you kind of know that these people literally just live on the internet and they're not gonna like no one's gonna come to your house or anything. But it does get quite intimidating, and it does teach you about how you navigate, I guess, social media when you have opinions that are deemed as controversial, even though I'm like asking for rights, you know.
I was going to say something, in fact, which was interesting. I said to my sister, little sister, this has got nothing to do with the interview, maybe not, but maybe you can shed some light on it. I spoke to my little sister and said that I realised I was in a white space. And I say white spaces in a lot more white people, wherever it was. I can't remember what I said to her, but I said I find myself adjusting to the environment. Like, and she said literally she's gonna study medicine. She got 6 double A stars, the rest A stars. She's really intelligent. So she says these, and she was like, yeah, literally, because she's black and tall. Like, when she's the head of sixth form for her school, and when the parents come, she has to be like, oh hi, yeah, and she has to do her voice more soft, just to show them, you know, I'm the head girl, and and she's like, we're like essentially being fake. In lots of but why do we have to? And I didn't realize that was a thing. I didn't realize that I was doing any of that.
Yeah.
But what is that called?
Assimilation.
Oh yeah, okay.
You have to kind of assimilate to survive in these spaces. You're already a black person in a white space, and then you don't want to do extras to draw attention to yourself. And I think a lot of it is respectability politics. A lot of black people are afraid to like.
Mike's got his head like this. Like, he's got his head down.
He's hearing it. Yeah, I think a lot of black people are afraid to maybe be themselves because they associate being themselves with like traditionally black stereotypes that have throughout history been like criminalized, persecuted, demonized, and so you do everything to avoid that because the whiter you seem, the more acceptable you are, and all of that jazz. And like, I think that's something I even had to reckon with a lot at when I got to university, because I thought like, oh well, I'm gonna have all these white friends and it's gonna be These white people did not want to chat to me. These white people did not make me feel included. And it was like I kind of just realized like, oh wow, if in order for me to be like them, I have to abandon so much of myself. In order for me to be accepted, I have to abandon so much of myself. And I didn't want to do it. And I think I spent a lot of time like hating myself and like hating my blackness, or because it was ghetto or whatever, and I didn't want to be seen like that. And then I had to grow to love it, and I had to like basically decolonize my mind and basically be like, actually there's a deep-seated issue here, whereas a lot of black people are are forced to hate themselves because they resemble something that society deems and presents as ugly, or they look at the representations that they have and they're all gimmicky and they don't want to be a gimmick. And it's easier for you to hate yourself and assimilate than be yourself and be proud of being yourself. So I think it's something that all of us have to reckon with in white spaces that I did a lot of when I got to uni.
She's so deep. And one of the last things I would ask is, you said that, you know, you realised if you was dedicated, you wish you dedicated yourself to one thing and focused on one thing.
Yeah.
So how important is that for this audience that's listened to? What would you say to them? Because similar to me, literally, I did everything, girl. I was just doing this, that. And it was good because you kind of find yourself in that. You understand what you like and things like that. But I do, like, my whole thing is purpose. Like, unless they're going to book me to speak and it's around purpose, identity, vision or something like that, I'm not going to speak. If you're going to ask me to post something I'm not involved in, like, I'm dedicated to this whole purpose thing. So what would you say to the audience about, you know, why would you encourage them to focus on one thing? Like, what would you say on the topic of one thing?
I feel like one thing is quite difficult, but I would say that, like, having a focus, having a place that you want to be at, and even if you don't, like, I'm even going to go back on myself here, but, like, even if you don't, like, that's okay. People always ask me, like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do next? And I'm always like, I don't know. I have no idea. I have no idea where I'm going.
And that's okay.
I have no idea where I want to be. I'm taking the opportunities as they come, like the ones that are right for me, the ones that pique my interest, and I'm just gonna see. Yeah, and I'm gonna just see where that stuff takes me. I think we love to be so final about things, but at the end of the day, like, I don't think the destination is more important than the journey. Do you know what I mean? So I kind of feel
She's
like
23. When I was 23, this guy said to me, Andre, God's saying to you to enjoy the journey. It took me to 30 to let me know that you need to enjoy the journey. And my mentor said something. He said that it's not, success isn't the destination. It's about the, basically the hurdles or the things that you had to overcome getting there.
Yeah.
That's about the process and the journey.
Yeah.
Last question I've got for you. So what do you think your purpose is?
I know this is an issue about purpose, but that's a good ass question. I feel like I've been to your events before and you always do ask this question, and I feel like at the moment I feel like my purpose is about liking myself and loving myself.
Oh my God, that's a good one.
I think I before I can have a purpose of, like, serving other people and making people happy and making people laugh or informing people, I really do need to love myself and I need to see value in myself. And I remember my therapist was like, describe a person as a good person, and I gave her all these qualities and she was like, that person is literally you. But even though that's true, I still don't see myself as valuable, and I still don't like myself enough to see myself as a good person. And I think I attribute a lot of, like, good things happen to good people, bad things happen to bad people, and then I use my childhood as an example of why I'm a bad person. And so for me right now, my purpose is unlearning a lot of that stuff and being content, and loving myself, and then being able to, like, show others around me the love and support and dedication that they actually deserve. But I can't do that if I'm fostering all this, like, hate for myself. So I think, like, that's my purpose. So yeah, my purpose is loving myself.
I think that's
now.
I think that's beautiful. Can we give her a round of applause? This is wonderful. Guys, do you have any quick questions?
I think it's kind of like, you said you did a lot of things in every stage of your life, and then I think for me I do it as well. I find validation in the things I do, not in who I am. All those things. How do you deal with that, and how do you get out of that process?
So yeah, definitely therapy was the first thing, but then also finding things or hobbies that you can do that don't really rely on validation. And so that's why I kind of picked up, like, pole dancing, and I've done, like, hoop and slings and silks and aerial, and, you know, I'm doing all these little things that don't really serve any higher purpose, just because I like doing them. And I think the more stuff you do like that, I think it does make you feel a bit more detached from seeing these things as who you are as a person, or your achievements as who you are as a person, and more the things you like doing and the people you like being around, and shifting the balance of prioritizing those things, and then having something that you do want to achieve in or whatever, as something on the side as opposed to being your personality. Because I find a lot of people that are like, not no shade or not being rude or anything, but like people who are solely defined by their careers or solely defined by their achievements, and the only thing that they have to talk about are achievements. Like, they're so boring. They're not interesting. And I don't know how long you can do that before people just don't really want to be around you, because who are you as a person, and what are you offering as a person, and what are the great qualities about you, not how many awards you've won or where you see yourself in 5 years time winning whatever. Like, just do stuff that makes you like you. Like, for me anyway, like a lot more self-care, in the sense of like, I don't know, just like going for massages and doing these small things, which obviously isn't the basis of self-care. I know self-care is much more radical than that, but even those little things to remind myself that I'm human and not just working all the time to the point of exhaustion, and where I look ugly and I feel crusty and all that stuff. I think that's really helped me a lot. Because obviously achieving stuff is nice, but if achieving stuff is my personality, then I'm going to be a bit of a shit person. Those are my feelings.
I'm trying to think what question I have. I liked how you kind of like spoke about that whole idea of, you know, asking yourself who you are. Because I actually remember, obviously through the TL, you kind of like, you kind of shared like, and I really respected it a lot. You shared the idea of like, you've been so busy and you're doing all of these things, and I think it was something along the lines of, okay, there's, you know, this whole thing within like activism and doing all of that, and then politics, doing all of that, but who am I? And I guess but yeah, just I guess in person, I just want to say like, wow, it was great for you to share, and thank you just for your transparency and honesty, because I feel like when people see you, they put, you know, you, not that it's like necessarily a bad thing, but they put you on a pedestal and think, okay, there's this perfect person doing all of this stuff. But I think it was nice for you to show people that, you know, you're human too, and that you're still figuring stuff out along the way. And okay, I found my question changed, I guess. Okay, so
You're
like
just
now,
making a statement at the moment.
yeah.
That she's
I was
amazing.
gonna ask like before, like what would you probably tell your younger self, but I think now I'd probably say like, how are you, especially like coming from, how do I explain this? It was coming to the point where you are now, where, you know, you're working on yourself and like loving yourself and getting to know yourself more. How you like taking that forward, I guess, with like the new opportunities that are kind of coming as well, because you've been on a great, like, seeing your journey has been amazing, like from like the side, just watching you do your thing has been great. So like, as it's all kind of like picking up, and like there's no more uni now, and like it's, you know, adulting, all that kind of stuff, like how are you dealing with where things are gonna go alongside like your journey into like self and that kind of thing?
No, that makes sense. And I think
Didn't make sense to me, but you can answer.
on that first point about people kind of like projecting on me, I've kind of had to learn how to be, for me anyway, be unapologetically vulnerable without downplaying my achievements. Because I think it's really easy for someone to compliment you and then you'd be like, no, actually I'm so shit, like whatever, blah, blah, whatever. But it's just like, oh, thank you. Like, I've learned a lot of that now. Saying like, if someone says something nice to me, saying thank you instead of being like, oh no, like, oh whatever, like I'm so rubbish or blah blah blah. I'm just like, thank you so much for that, but also still being like super vulnerable. I don't want people to think that I'm like above it all and whatever, because I'm not, and I'm really honest that I'm not, and I think I'm quite comfortable with that. But only like more recently, I always used to feel like I needed to live up to some sort of like I'm really perfect thing. But then I was like, who's really buying this? And I'm really, all I'm doing is contributing to a culture of like hustle culture, burnout culture, where I'm constantly sharing my wins and my achievements. And I'm pleased to announce, and I'm so proud to say all that stuff. But actually, like, that's really not the full story. And I don't want to be complicit in people working themselves to an early grave.
She just said complicit.
I don't want to be complicit.
I don't even know what that means.
I don't want to enable people or encourage people or show people that it's okay to work yourself into an early grave for the sake of always looking like you're winning. And I think like going forward in the future, when it comes to the opportunities I'm taking up or the things that I'm doing, I'm definitely prioritizing self. I'm definitely saying I'm only going to do stuff that I feel, I'm definitely going to do stuff that serves me, that I really like, that I enjoy, that I have fun doing, that I want to do. I'm not going to do things for the sake of doing it. I'm not going to do things that don't feel right for me. And like in everything that I can do, I'm going to try and be more honest with myself and more honest with other people, calling myself out if I'm being bad vibes, or am I taking an opportunity because it's right for me, or because I feel like maybe this would be good to like propel me, or whatever. But being open, and I think the biggest change, going from a university, an academic institution, everything is set up for you, it's so cushy, to going out in the world and adulting on your own was a huge change for me. And that is where I was kind of forced to love myself more, because I didn't have an institution to give me a certificate to tell me to love myself.
Wow.
I didn't have any award ceremony to tell me that I was good. I had to validate myself, which was so hard when you've been in school and education your whole life, and like you have end of year awards and you win this and blah blah blah. There's no end of year awards in adulthood.
I wasn't winning jack.
There's no end of year awards there, so you have to set up your own systems of validation or approval or praise or whatever. And I think that was really hard, but like also super rewarding, and like I gained a lot from it, I think. And I think that's what I would say, like going forward, just like prioritizing you, validating yourself, investing in things that make you happy, divesting from things that don't make you happy. If you need to unfollow someone on Instagram, unfollow them. If you need to mute this person, mute them. Make every aspect of your life enjoyable. There were people that I didn't like that I was following on social media for the sake of like being nice or whatever. Like every space you can, like just make it your own and make it a happy space to be in. Like don't do stuff that makes you feel crap for the sake of doing it. I think it's a huge thing. We abandon ourselves so much in our pursuit of trying to win and look like we're winning. Like, but honestly, like you are the only person that you have. You only have one life. You only have one body. There's literally no point running yourself to an early grave for what? Some people to like your shit on LinkedIn. They're not going to care about you in the next second. You know, like it's such a harsh reality, but like people don't care. Like they don't care. And we work so hard to please people who don't care. It's really sad.
Wow, we work so hard to please people that don't care.
Yeah.
That's another line. It's true.
That's what I would say.
Work so
You can't come and die for
hard
capitalism, man. You can't come and die for capitalism.
people that don't care. What's that one? We can't
come and die for capitalism.
and die for capitalism. Give her a round of applause. That is, I ain't gonna lie, that's my best. That's the best interview. The best. This is.
Thank
give me a hug,
you.
darling. Sorry, my left armpit's starting to smell, but you know I love
It's
you.
been a long day for you, man.
No, I haven't finished. I need to do the last bit. Don't turn it off. So, guys, that's been the Purpose Podcast. I've been Andre Spence. This has been
Chanté Joseph.
Chanté. What's your @s online?
Chanté J, CHANTAYYJAYY. That's my @ on everything.
Amazing. And mine is Andre Spence, ANDRE, SPENCE, or it's not the Purpose Podcast, it's Purpose Podcast. We've also got a Patreon account. I think that's the Purpose Podcast. I hope it is. If you feel like you want to give £1 shilling or 100 shillings, I'll be really, or pounds, or dollars, either one. We'll be eternally grateful. It's just been amazing speaking to Chanté today. It's just been glorious, hasn't it been, guys? Come on, say yes. Yeah. We've only got 2 other people in the room. So yeah, thank you so much. That's it.